Welcome back to Revenge Flame. Today's story begins with a marriage that looked calm, predictable, and almost too steady to question. My wife, Liana, and I had a rhythm morning coffee together, shared dinners, quiet nights where nothing dramatic ever happened. We were the couple people pointed at and said, "They're solid." I believed that, right up until the night her words cut through me sharper than any betrayal, because sometimes a relationship doesn't break with a scream, it cracks with a sentence you never expect to hear. And the one she chose changed everything. Liana and I weren't perfect, but we fit together in a way that made life feel lighter. Our mornings always started the same. She'd hum while making tea, and I'd pretend the toast I made wasn't burnt. We laughed about small things, like how she always stole the blankets, or how I could never remember where she kept the sugar. Some nights, we'd sit on the balcony with a single blanket wrapped around both of us, watching the city lights flicker like they were winking at our inside jokes. I remember one trip we took to the coast. She ran into the water fully clothed, just to make me laugh, and I did hard. Those moments felt real, steady, safe. But looking back, I realized something. The peace wasn't permanent. It was fading, slowly, quietly, like a candle burning low long before anyone notices the wick is almost gone. The first signs didn't come crashing in. They slipped quietly into our routine, almost polite in the way they arrived. Liana started keeping her phone face down on the table, something she'd never cared about before. At first, I told myself it was nothing, that everyone valued a little privacy. But the habit settled in like a shadow. Then came the sudden work obligations, meetings at odd hours, projects she never mentioned before, nights when she'd come home late, apologizing with a smile that felt practiced, like she'd practiced it in the car before walking in. Her attitude shifted too. Little things that once made her laugh now earned only a soft exhale or a distracted nod. When I'd touch her arm, she'd flinch, not dramatically, just enough for me to notice, then pretend she didn't. On social media, her posts changed. Less of us, more self-love quotes, more photos where she looked distant, polished, almost curated for someone else's eyes. Each red flag was small on its own, easy to justify, easy to forgive. But together, they formed a pattern, one I pretended not to see, because acknowledging it meant accepting something was slipping out of my hands. The slow burn had begun. The house was wrapped in that strange kind of silence that only exists after midnight, too still, too careful, like it was holding its breath with me. I was finishing some leftover office work when her phone lit up on the dining table. She always kept it face down, except tonight she forgot. A single message glowed through the dim room. "Last night was perfect. When can I see you again?" My heartbeat didn't spike. It just paused, like my body was trying to understand a reality it never prepared for. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't storm into the bedroom. I simply sat there, letting the quiet break over me again and again. A minute later, I heard soft movement from the hallway, her footsteps, slow, cautious, like she knew the universe had shifted. I looked up. Calm on the outside, ruined on the inside. This was the moment everything stopped being our life and became the truth I couldn't unsee. Morning light filled the kitchen like nothing had happened. But her face told a different story, pale, tense, avoiding my eyes as she stirred her coffee without taking a sip. I sat across from her, silent, letting the air pressure her instead of my voice. Finally, she spoke, a shaky breath first. I haven't been feeling happy for a while," she began, like she had practiced the line in front of a mirror. "You're always busy. We barely connect anymore. I just needed something honest, something real." Every word felt rehearsed, too smooth, too polished for someone who was hurting. I didn't interrupt. I didn't ask who the message was from. I just watched her, observed the guilt, trying to hide behind calmness. When she finally looked at me, she whispered, "I didn't mean for it to get this far." I nodded once, quiet, controlled, because the truth was clear. She wasn't confessing to heal. She was confessing to justify. After her confession, I didn't argue. I didn't demand details. I simply walked away with a calmness she didn't understand. But inside, something shifted. Not rage, not heartbreak, a cold, precise storm. That evening, while she showered, I opened the drawer where she kept her second phone. Yes, the same one she thought I never noticed. I photographed everything. Call, logs, messages, locations. No shaking hands, no tears. Just quiet documentation. Over the next few days, I tracked our finances, checked joint accounts, and moved my savings into a separate legal space. I kept receipts. I stored copies. I messaged a lawyer not to destroy her, but to protect myself. She kept acting distant, lost in her own guilt. I kept acting normal, as if life was unchanged. But the truth was simple. She thought she had broken me. She didn't know she had awakened a version of me she'd never met. Silent, steady, done. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was precise. 3 weeks after her confession, when she thought things were getting better, I placed a small, sealed envelope on the dining table before leaving for work. No yelling, no accusations, just facts collected quietly, dated carefully. arranged like a surgeon's instruments. Inside, she found printed screenshots of her late-night messages, copies of financial withdrawals linked to her secret weekends, and a simple line written by me at the end. "You said honesty is what you needed, so I'm giving you all of it." Alongside the papers was a notice. The apartment lease had been transferred to her name, something she never wanted because she couldn't afford it alone. The shared account was emptied legally. My portion moved safely weeks ago. No threats, no insults, just a silent exit she never expected. For the first time, she was the one left shocked, speechless, and alone in the quiet she created. It didn't take long for the silence to start eating her alive. The morning she found the envelope, she didn't message me, not at first. But by noon, my phone was vibrating nonstop. "Can we talk?" "Then please. This isn't what you think." By evening, she showed up outside my workplace, eyes red, mascara streaking. Clutching her phone like it was the last thing keeping her standing, she tried to smile, but her lips trembled. "I messed up. I know. But don't leave like this, please. Yell at me. Hate me. Just don't disappear." I stayed calm, detached. She broke more. The next day, she posted sad quotes on social media, pictures of sunsets with captions like, "Losing someone you took for granted hurts the hardest." Then came the desperate voice message at 2 a.m. Crying so hard she could barely breathe. "I can't sleep. I can't think. Please, just come home." But the truth was simple. Home stopped being ours the moment she handed it to someone else. We met in a quiet corner of the lawyer's office, neutral ground. No warmth, no memories. She looked exhausted, eyes swollen, fingers twisting nervously. "I know I messed up," she whispered, "but can't we fix this? We were us." I slid the final document across the table. Signed, sealed, irreversible. "No," I said calmly. "We stopped being us the night you chose someone else." She stared at the papers, her breath catching, the reality finally settling in. For the first time, she didn't argue. No excuses. Just silence, heavy, accepting, broken, and I walked out without looking back. As I packed the last box from our home, her home now, I paused at the doorway for a moment. Not to remember, but to release. The walls felt different, like they no longer held echoes of laughter or love. Just lessons. She stood behind me, trembling, waiting for some final mercy, some final thread to hold on to, but I had none left to give. I turned to her one last time and said quietly, "You didn't break my heart. You taught it where not to live." And with that, I stepped out, leaving her with truth, silence, and the life she chose. My new place was small, quiet, and exactly what I needed. No echoes of old arguments, no late-night doubts, just peace. Mornings became slower, calmer. I made coffee without rushing, opened windows without feeling watched, breathed without feeling weighed down. I deleted her number, not out of anger, but because the chapter was finished. One evening, as the sun slipped behind the city skyline, warm light filling my new living room, I realized something simple and freeing. I wasn't rebuilding life. I was finally living it. And for the first time in a long time, the silence felt like home. Thank you for watching this emotional journey. Now, I want to hear from you. What would you have done if you were in his place? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might inspire the next episode. Until then, stay strong and stay tuned.